Cooking with the Tedster, a Showrunners radio production.
Let's get it on.
Hi, my name's Williams from Showrunners Radio FM.
And I'm Ted Singleton.
And we're doing a couple of shows on cooking with the Tedster. I met Teddy a few months ago in Liverpool, and through a party he had, I found out what an awesome cook he is. So over the next few weeks, Teddy's going to be doing some various cooking styles from America. Southern fried chicken, fish gumbos and some potato salads, etc. So we've got
spinach, lemon pepper wings, ribs, the whole assortment of things.
So without further ado, here's over to Mr. Teddy Tedster.
Thank you, Dove, for such a humble introduction. I am the Tedster, and this is the first pilot project, Cooking with the Tedster. And we are shooting our first show. And what Cooking with the Tedster is all about is a show that will showcase several dishes that can be complicated and take a long time to cook. But what I propose to do is use the audio and visual as a teaching tool, and as you watch me, if you follow this tape and do everything I do, I guarantee you I can get you cooking a number of meals in 45 minutes. Bon appetit. So without further ado, we're going to start today with our southern fried chicken, lemon pepper wings, sauteed mushroom spinach, and fried corn on the cob. And it's a twist to my corn on the cob, but we'll show you that further in the episode. For my radio audience, I will demonstrate firing up the oven, because you can't cook without your fire. And where's my fire? Uh-oh. This is real live TV, so things are delayed, and we're going to go straight through this. And like I said, by the time this episode is taped, you should be able to cook everything that I'll demonstrate to you today. Okay, so what I'm doing now is turning on my oil. Some people say grease, but it doesn't sound proper to say grease. But what I use, and I'll tell you, I use all natural products. Right now I'm using vegetable oil. This will get you started. As a matter of fact, this here is a family heirloom. Actually, it was my grandmother's skillet. Telling you a little bit about myself, I'm known in America as Ted Singleton, my birth name. And how I got into cooking is, when I was young, I used to spend a lot of time with my grandmother, who was a chef. And basically, making a long story short, working around the kitchen, cutting potatoes and stirring up things, I just picked up all of her traits and her habits. And I didn't realize it, but when she passed away, as you can see Louise Gray over here, I feel like a feeling that when I cook, that's one way that she communes in my body. And even though I don't write things down, you'll notice I don't measure. I cook by ear, I cook by heart, I cook by feeling. All that's because, for some reason, I sink into my grandmother in memory, and it's just, things just seem to come out right. Let's start this off. First you have I'm going to start off with the chicken legs, and one of the things I'm going to do, you must wash chicken.
Teddy, can you tell me why you need to wash the chicken?
Well, one of the things is chicken carries salmonella, so you wouldn't want to cook fried chicken and say, oh, I cooked the greatest fried chicken, I learned it on Cooking with the Tedster, and all of a sudden you get a lawsuit for food poisoning. So we've got to rinse this off. Even though it appears clean in the supermarkets, it's always good to wash it off, get the excess fat off, get the feathers off, the excess things like that. So we're washing our chicken. Okay, so what we're going to do here is dump the chicken legs in lukewarm water. Not really warm, but just enough so you can get a good cleaning. And I'm going to clean this really quick. Some people like to soak chicken in lemon juice and vinegar, and that really gives it the squeaky cleanness. That's actually the best way to clean chicken. But for now, and for my radio audience, what you hear is the water from the sink, and this is some pretty clean chicken. It's not a feather or anything on it, so I'm able to, you know. And one of the ways you know that your chicken is clean is once you don't feel the slippery feeling, once it feels a little grippy, that's when you know you got your chicken squeaky clean. So what I'm going to do next is demonstrate how to season this chicken. I'm going to get a few seasonings, but when in doubt, depending on your taste buds, you never go wrong with salt and pepper. That is the original basic ingredients of Southern fried chicken. But what I prefer to use is seasoning salt, which I won't call the names. I might slip and call the names sometimes, but I guess until we get an endorsement to push and promote their products, I'm not going to call the names because I'm not getting paid for it. Anyway, starting off, I got basically onion powder, seasoning salt, and I'm going to just kind of shake it on a little bit. And it may look on camera like I'm putting a lot of things on here, but really it won't, because it'll burn down in the oil. So don't get really edgy about, oh, he's putting too much seasoning. What I'm going to do now is get my pepper, a little pepper you need. Pepper is always nice on pretty much anything. But
And Teddy, does it matter what, I mean, there's many types of pepper that you can use, white pepper, ground pepper. I noticed you're using ground pepper, is that?
yes, I'm using ground black pepper because anything else would just make it complicated. And you got to remember too, some people like to use oregano and herb seasonings. Now I'll give you a little heads up. When you're frying certain things in high temperature oil, it's not very good to use flaky, leafy seasonings, because what will happen is, once I batter this up and it's in flour, that oil will burn the oregano and parsley. That'll burn up in the oil, and your chicken will have the appearance that you're burning it. Although you're not, it's just not a good look. So usually stay away from the herbal seasonings. Just use powdered, ground up pepper, onion powder. Those are the things I'm using. We're gonna so I got that seasoned really nice there. And as a matter of fact, I think I can start my oil. And we're going to go to another important ingredient, and that's your flour. Okay, so this part here, this is the fun part, because even young children can do this. I seasoned some flour here that I'm going to submerge my chicken in and shake it up real nice. I'm just mixing up my little seasonings. A lot of people don't like to season their flour, but I like the way when it gives the chicken a crispiness, you bite into it. I like to taste my seasonings internally as well as externally. So without further ado, one thing, make sure your bags don't have holes in them, because what will happen is it'll just make a mess all over the kitchen. And you know, you want to just keep it very isolated. All of your flour will stay inside a Ziploc bag, and you can seal it and really coat that chicken evenly. And I guess I could have put more pieces. Sometimes I can put 5 pieces in. And when you do that, the next thing is to drop this chicken. So what I'm going to do, there's a secret to dropping your chicken. Like I told you earlier, I cook by ear. So what I'm going to do is wet my finger to see if the oven is hot enough, because I don't have any gauges. Oh, that's what you want to hear? When you start your chicken off, and I start off with a high flame, and once you submerge your chicken in the oil, then you break the flame down. And the reason for that is, you got to remember, just like the principle of an automobile engine, when you use oil, oil breaks down because of the heat. What you're hearing now, in respect of my radio audience, is you're hearing the hot skillet, and that's my grandmother's skillet. That is a family heirloom. Cast iron skillet, the original way to fry chicken. Okay, in respect to my radio audience, what I'm doing right now is I just dropped the chicken, and you can hear all the nice sounds. And what I'll say is one of my secrets to frying perfect chicken is, once you drop the oil, and the chicken in the oil, what you want to do immediately is turn the flame down, because the oil life on high temperatures, oil can break down quite fast. So what you want to do is just turn your flame down to, I would say, medium, and let your chicken sizzle fry. And the reason for that is, because I cook by ear, as long as your chicken is sizzling, you know it's not done. But once the sizzling sort of lowers, then more than likely the chicken should be a golden brown texture. So we have our wings over here for the lemon pepper, which you'll see how I demonstrate that later. And our fried chicken is sizzling. I just gave it one flip. I would recommend that you flip chicken every, I'd say, 5 minutes. And right now we are probably into, I think the chicken has been frying for about approximately 8 minutes. While that's going, I'm going to get into my spinach, my mushroom sauteed, or rather, let me get it right, buttered and garlic mushroom sauteed spinach. So, first thing you need, I guess, pepper for color in your spinach and onion for flavor. Match made in heaven, quite lovely when it's completed. So what you'll see me doing now is I'm going to just start cutting my onions and my pepper. And this knife is not, actually I like to cut with a larger knife. So let me pull my, let's try this one for a minute. That way I can get a little bit more navigation around this onion here. And all I'm doing for my radio audience is taking the onion husk off. And what I'll do to the pepper is to just cut it around the seeds. You know, you don't want your seeds in your spinach. Seeds are basically to reproduce another pepper, not to season spinach. Okay.
I've just been told by the cameraman, Mr. Teddy, that he's not crying because he's tall, that means he's further away from the onions, and also because he's wearing glasses. Yeah. I've also heard that if you wash the onions in water before you cut them, or after you take off the skin, that's supposed to nullify the effects of the onions as well.
And see, that's what's wonderful about this show. I mean, you just learned something. Everybody got a little bit to share, and actually, I never knew.
What happened? A bread bun. Teddy, I've just been told, and I don't know if it's true, that if you supposedly buy a bread bun before you cut onions, that's supposed to nullify onions as well.
A bread bun?
Bread bun.
What's that?
Well, bun, a bread, a slice of bread.
Oh.
I don't know how that's supposed, but one of my audio staff just said as well that if you bite into a slice of bread bun, that's supposed to nullify the onions.
So there's all kinds of different theories about this frying onion thing, but yeah. Basically, the good thing that I like about onions is sometimes they just seem to complement your flavors, and they just stand on their own. And I know there's some people that are very funny about onions and garlic and all of that, but they're such nice additions to any dish that you can create. And it doesn't, and then it's not as dominating unless you're eating them raw, but it never hurts when you're cooking onions. You can use as many as you want.
And I heard that onions and garlic from the same family are really good for the blood, for filling out the blood, and good for the heart. Garlic and onions.
What I'm going to do now is just get my, this is going to be my spinach here. So I just want to get, for my radio listening audience, I'm dumping onions into a stock pot. I guess you would say it's about a 3-quart stock pot. And the reason is so I can start cooking down the veggies, and I'll add my my spinach with that.
Teddy, is it okay to use any other types of mushrooms like oyster mushrooms, shiitake mushrooms, or is it specifically button mushrooms?
Well, I tend to use the button mushrooms because of the size, and those other mushrooms are just too big for me, and I think I haven't really explored all mushrooms, but this is your standard mushroom. It looks good when you cut it. It cuts real nice and easy. Okay, what I'm about to do now is line up a bowl, because when the chicken is done, I like to lace the bottom of the bowl because chicken, you know, you're cooking it, you're submerged in hot oil. So what I do when you put like paper towel or napkins on the bottom, it gives the oil a chance to absorb into the paper towel, and that's to guarantee a crispy piece of chicken and not a piece of greasy and, you know, that type of thing. So that's the reason why you see my bowl lined up. This chicken here is ready to come out. So I'm just going to give you a look, camera shot, close up. This is what your chicken is going to look like. See, I'll drain it. Usually you drain it for safety over your frying pan. So what I'm doing now is taking my chicken out, and for my radio listeners, what it looks like is a golden brown texture. I can tell it's juicy in the middle. And one of the key facts in frying chicken is, some people like their chicken extra crispy, and the way you get that texture, the longer you leave it in the cook, the crispier it gets. I like my chicken medium. I like it done, but I like it to be juicy but crispy on the outside. Remember, the longer you cook it, the crispier it tends to get. So I'm taking this out because I'm going to get ready for a new batch, and it looks lovely. It's golden brown, and that's how you want the chicken. Always remember, if you hear the sound, when we started off, the oil was really loud.
Yeah.
You can hear that somebody's frying, but right now the oil is settling down. You just might hear sizzling from my lemon pepper wings, but my chicken leg pan, that's the sound you want. That's the sound that says this chicken is done. It's good, every 3 batches of chicken is good to change your oil because the oil breaks down and the consistency starts to get thin. And one of the disadvantages of keeping the same old oil, it'll start to burn your chicken. If you want your chicken to be pretty and golden, it's good that you can do 3 batches, which is approximately 15 to 20 pieces of chicken in a pan. Change your oil, reheat it, start all over, and your chicken will have the consistent golden look, and it'll just stay nice. You don't want to burn up your pan and burn up your kitchen. If you notice, we don't really have smoke, but we are frying with hot oil, but it's not smoky here. That's because I changed my oil. So what I'm doing now, I'm going to microwave this butter, because this is the trick I was telling you about with the lemon pepper chicken wing. I just thought I'd take a minute to say, you know, I really enjoy cooking, and in no way do I proclaim to be a master chef. It's just something that I like to do. It's in my culture, and you know, some people out there may say, oh, he's not doing anything no different than anybody else. Well, you know, I'm just doing it on film, and that's just what I want to do. But if there's something that you try at home that you captured from this video, you know, spinach, the fried chicken techniques, you know, give me a shout out. You know, say, hey Ted, I tried your fried chicken recipe and it came out nice. Hit me up on teddysing@aol.com. That's TEDDY @AOL.com, or Facebook. Tell me you like the meal, but don't go and look at my video, study my video, get my technique down, and then run around in your world and say, oh yeah, I cooked this, and you know, just don't jack my swag. In other words, don't be a swag jacker. You know what I'm saying? If you like something and I turned you on to a little, you know, swagger or a little flavor on how to make it, you know, hit me up, make a brother feel good. Say, Ted, I really like that. I'm gonna try that, or I tried it, it came out good. But don't be a swag jacker. That's it. That's another Tedster fact. Don't be a swag jacker. That's going to be the saying of the year. Swag jacking. Swag jacking. Okay, in all due respect of our radio audience, I was explaining how much spinach would it take to serve a number of people. So I would like to assume, because spinach has a shrink down rate and it shrinks down really fast, and because I cook from heart and by ear, I would just say 1 bag, 1 person. So 3 guests, 3 bags, 5 guests, 6 bags. Because usually spinach is so good, somebody's going to want seconds. So always put 2 extra bags in, because you can have leftovers, or, you know, spinach is really cheap here in Britain. So. Okay, so what I've done here is sauteed my onions and my pepper, and I'm going to put a little bit more garlic in this. That's the ingredient that really kicks this off. And I put seasoning salt, I put onion powder, I put a little oregano, and anything that you like that you can season it with. Because all this is actually sauteed vegetables, to fuse the flavor. And what I'm about to do is take this big bowl of spinach and literally, like magic, abracadabra, make it disappear. And you wonder, how's he gonna get all of that spinach into that small pot? The magic of spinach is that it shrinks really, really fast. So this is equivalent to about 4 or 5 bags of spinach. However, when it's done, it'll probably only make 5 or 6 servings, and that's really weird how it happens, but it's such a good thing to cook. Now, what I'm going to do is just demonstrate how I make my lemon pepper chicken. So, first of all, in order to make lemon pepper chicken, you have to have lemon pepper seasoning. And a Tedster fact here, I imported this with me through customs. I had to buy this in America because there's no lemon pepper in England. I haven't found it yet anyway. It could be somewhere. But anyway, let me demonstrate how to make lemon pepper chicken. What I've done, you just take your wings, unfloured wings, and as you can see, they're in the oil. Let me put it back on fire because that's a big, so the next batch can start. So what I'm doing now is just taking them out of the hot oil. And I'll show you the magic in 30 seconds. And you might say, oh, there's so much oil he's using, but you don't understand. This vegetable oil will fuse with butter and the seasoning, and it'll have the appearance as if I fried it, but the flavor will be awesome, like lemon, peppery.
Yeah.
It'll just have such a nice texture. Okay, the key to my lemon pepper wings are lemon and butter. Butter is what makes it all come together. You microwave a stick of real butter. And okay, I'll give you a demonstration now of how to make this lemon pepper work. First of all, you pour butter. So some are saying now, and for my radio audience, oh my God, butter, oil, that's high cholesterol. Maybe it is, but it'll still be good. So what you do, you pour your butter on your chicken because the heat and the consistency of sprinkling this seasoning is going to fuse into the chicken. It will stick. So you don't want to put too much because it tends to, you know, it's made out of lemon rinds, but it has a salt consistency, but it's not salt you're tasting the lemon. But part of the magic, as I was saying earlier, is with my sauteed spinach. Spinach cooks down, so as you see, like abracadabra, this is full of spinach, but now it amounts to barely, it'll turn into maybe a quarter of a pot, because spinach has a tendency to shrink down because I believe it has a lot of water in it or whatever, but when you steam it, it's also lovely. But as the heat hits the spinach and it fuses with all of the onions and peppers and garlic, and I think I need to add a little bit more garlic to this. Okay, so now I think our spinach is about done, and wow, that looks really nice. You can see those mushrooms, you can see the onion, and see the peppers fused in. Although they were red, you can't see them, but I see a few pieces peeking out. Put some of this in a plate, and basically you want to strain. You can strain the water off, but I like to serve it out of the water because if you dump the water too soon, the water has all your flavor in it. So you want to make sure the spinach stays submerged in the spinach juice so that the flavors can absorb. And you know, I'd say maybe a half hour after you cut it off the fire, then you can strain it. But strain it actually before you put it on your plate, because if you have bread or anything, as you see, spinach is very wet. So you want to squeeze all the juice that you can out, or just put it on an independent plate so it doesn't mess up your other items that you're eating. Okay, back with cooking with the Tedster. I'm working on my last dish now, but I wanted to take a few minutes to mention, I woke up this morning and I got really bad news. As you all know, well actually you will know after I say it, but I've been a social worker for the last 29 years. And I had the privilege of working with a young man that passed away. I guess he's about 2 or 3 years younger than me. He should be about 46 years old. His name was Rodney Carroll. and we worked together. He was my supervisor at an agency called the Administration for Children's Services in New York, and I had the privilege of working with him around, I guess you would say, the years 2006 through 2008. Really lovely fellow. He was battling with an illness for a while, and first thing I did this morning, looked on Facebook, and bang, Rodney's passed away. So Rodney, wherever you are, I'm giving you a shout out on my TV show. Wish you was here, man, and you know, all sympathies out to your family. Just needed to take that moment. Anyway, back with the corn on the cob. What I'm doing is cutting corn off the cob, because what I will be doing is frying this with onions and seasoning and a little flour, and it makes a nice country fried corn consistency. And some people are saying, well, why would you not buy corn that's already carved? Well, it's just fun. It gives it a real feel when you do this. And I would like to do this with fresh corn on the cob. However, this, I guess, what is it? Now it's late November.
Yeah.
It's not corn on the cob season anymore, so you won't find any corn on the cob in England. With a little butter. Uh-oh, butter's sizzling. That's okay, and I'm gonna use some oil because I got my flame a little high, but I just wanted it to just get a little buttery. For my final dish, I'm gonna do the country fried corn. So I'm just gonna drop my corn in. There's not much going on. Oh yeah, little sizzle. And I guess people are saying, you know, this food this guy's cooking is not that healthy because he uses a lot of butter and oil and also olive oil. But a lot of Southern cooking is, that's just what they do. So don't question me. It's all about the heritage of Southern cooking. What I'm doing for the radio listeners, I'm putting pepper, a little seasoning salt, and some onion powder, and I'm gonna cut a real onion up. Let me just stir that in real quick so that I want to really get this going. Got to turn my flame up a little bit higher. Okay, get that going, and get rid of this. Butter, no more butter. And I'll use this. This is some liquid seasoning just to give it a little personality. Just gonna put some butter. Onion kicks corn off really nice. What I'm gonna do is do the final move on this corn. Now this corn is something my father, he's real good at cooking this, and this is kind of what I got from him. Theodore Singleton, may he rest in peace. He's been gone about 3 years and some months. But the secret to this corn, as you see, I fried it in butter oil with some onion in it, in this wok. And what happens is, he used to put some flour in the corn while it's frying. And I was like, wow, what is he doing? But the flour gives it a certain texture. It's out of this world. As it merges with the oils in the corn, because corn, you know, I've already fried it, but then with this flour, it gives it a more, I mean, it's just all I can tell you, it's like a more country taste, and it's really, really nice. So just put a little bit more flour, and I'm throwing it right out the bag. I know, but I just want you to know this is live TV, and sometimes you just have to go raw with your ingredients. And usually you take a spoon and pour your ingredients, but like I said, I know my meals by heart, and I don't use a recipe. I just look at my grandmother's picture, and I'm inspired to do my thing, and that's what I do. So anyway, yes sir.
Can you use corn flour rather than just normal flour?
No, you cannot use corn flour because corn flour already has a grainy consistency, and it just won't go. Corn flours can be used for cornbread, but corn is what comes from corn flour.
Okay. Yeah.
So it's like taking your mom's out on a date. You don't want to do that. You know what I'm saying? Corn flour or cornmeal is a byproduct of corn. So the two things won't go together.
So just plain box standard flour.
Plain white self-rising flour, because what happens is the flour rises. When you taste this, it'll have a consistency, but not grainy. It'll just have, and not slippery the way corn. When you bite corn, it's like a grippy, you know, squeezy, juicy taste. But this will give it a kind of. This is kind of
crispier.
It's not. It's like a young corn flitter-ish, without making a corn flitter. Well, we're coming down to the end of this episode of Cooking with the Tedster, and I must say, it's been a blast. I hope you guys will stick with us when we start taping the Christmas show. I want to give shout outs to the Dove of Love, Mr. Dove Ross Williams, and the crew, Sarah, and I just can't think of all you guys' names right now, but I really appreciate, you know, had a lot of fun sampling and tasting, and we're ready to eat now because we're starving. We've been taping this show all day, but hopefully when it's edited and in its final process, it'll be something that you all can enjoy. And remember, I'm not trying to show off my cooking skills. This is only to be used as a learning tool. And like I say again, because there's haters out there and swag jackers, I don't profess to be a master chef, but it's just something I like to do. You know, some blokes, they like to drink wine and liquor. You know, we getting together and we just doing a cooking show. We're just doing something to make life a little interesting. But anyway, with all good meals, you gotta have a beverage. And this last southern treat is what I consider, we used to call it church punch, because usually at church, when there's a program where you have dinner, the punch is always awesome, but it's never enough. You just get a little cup to go with your meal. But anyway, I'm just gonna give you a quick one that I like. When I was younger, we used to have this product here. I won't show it, but it's called Kool-Aid. Everybody knows, in a little pack like this. Anyway, I'm gonna just tell you, I squeezed about 4 or 5 lemons to get this much fresh lemon juice. So I'm gonna pour that in here, and I'm just gonna put a little dab of grape Kool-Aid flavor, because I used to love to sit on the porch when I was a kid with a cold bottle of, a cold glass of Kool-Aid. And we used to take a mayonnaise jar and wash it out, put a bunch of ice in it because you can get a lot of drink in it, and fill it with ice and put lemon in your Kool-Aid, and oh my God, that was such a refreshing drink. But right now, I'm gonna do a little tweak on this. In New York, we like to say, I'm gonna freak it. In Britain, we say we're going to tweak it. Same meaning. And when I say I'm going to put a tweak on it, well, let me just squeeze a little bit more lemon juice. And to make it look nice, it's always nice to cut your lemon slices and drop it in the pitcher. So I'm going to pour some water, I guess about half water. And I'm going to pour, like I tell you, I don't measure. So you guys can, you know, add the sugar to your taste anyway. And don't sit back. Oh, he's putting so much sugar. Oh, his meals are so unhealthy. But actually, this is going to be some really strong kind of Kool-Aid lemonade. But to counteract and give it a better citric consistency, I'm going to pour the rest with 7-Up, and that'll also give it some fizz. And you see it looks starting to come together now. That's such a nice drink. And you know, you have a little blush of purple, but it's like, it'll taste like a little bit like lemonade, a little bit like Kool-Aid, but it'll have that shot of 7-Up in it. And that's how you tweak it. And if I was in America, I'd say that's how we freak it. Okay. Dove, you can take us on out.
That looks good.
Oh
So
yeah.
can we have a little sip?
Yeah, we're gonna have us a little, I hope it's
A
sweet
little,
enough.
little toast. This
Okay.
Head to the Tedster.
All right.
Oh, that's ice cold.
You taste that little lemon tweak on it?
Yeah, I've definitely got a freak on it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that was the first pilot of Cooking with the Tedster. If you enjoyed this, tune in next week to Cooking with the Tedster at showrunnersradio.fm or showrunnersnet.tv. Dove Ross Williams, and
I am the Tedster.
thank you very much for listening, and thank you very much for watching.
And the word of the day is, don't be a swag jacker.
Showrunners. Showrunners Radio, at the heart of the community.